guys, it's Mrs. Love. I'm just here today to do a little special project with you guys. We're going to talk about shape and then draw a spring bouquet. So the way that I like to start this project is thinking about the types of shape. And so in art, we have divided shape into two different categories. One is geometric shape, and you hear that word geometry in the title, and then organic shape. So geometric shape, you can probably guess, is shapes that we recognize. Geometry we talk about in math. Shapes that we can measure, shapes that we recognize, like a square, a triangle, a circle. Organic shapes are more shapes that we might recognize them, but we can't necessarily measure them like we can a geometric shape. So just to kind of give you an idea, I printed this out, and this is how I teach some of my younger students about shape. I just give them these examples. So you can see organic shape, we definitely recognize these, like a seahorse, a leaf, a flower, a cloud, but they're not the shapes that we commonly would use and recognize in our everyday life. So down here we've got a square, circle, star, oval. You can kind of, the list goes on and on, but that's just an easy representation of organic and geometric shape. So today what we're going to do is we're going to draw some spring bouquets, and I went ahead and emailed everyone. These are some of my favorite things. I know you guys know I love the roll-a-die drawing, but we're actually not even going to use dice. You certainly could, but we're not going to do that today. We're just going to kind of use this as a guide, and instead of rolling the dice to dictate what you draw, you get to pick. And I also sent out a little note that all we need today is some white paper. I'm going to use Sharpie. I suggest that you guys start in pencil. And then I'm going to use markers for my color, but you are welcome to use crayon, colored pencil, anything that you think will work on your weight of paper. You don't really want to use paint probably on computer. Okay, you don't want to use paint on computer paper because it'll rip your paper. If it gets too wet, it'll create holes or get all gritty. So I think the best thing to use for this is marker. But anyway, what your first step is to choose a base shape. So I am going to choose the number 2. So I'm going to do this shape. So I'll do it nice and big so you guys can see. And with your vase, you're actually going to want to take up at least, a good portion of your paper, maybe like 2/3 of your paper. So I'm going to start kind of a third of the way down. So I do have a really big, and I apologize, you can't see the entire paper, but I have a really big, almost like poster size surface. So I'm going to go about a third of the way down, and I'm going to start with the very top of my base. And I'm just going to kind of bring it out, down. You can kind of see, I don't think you can see the very bottom. I'll lift it up so you can see it. So you're not that far out. I'm going to bring it down, I'm going to bring it flat across the bottom. I'm going to reference my shape again, which is this one. And it doesn't have to be perfect, I'm just trying to come as close to it as I can. I'm going to actually make it a little wider. And then I'm going to come back, do the top again. Okay, so we're starting with our base. The second step, which is not on your roller sheet, would be to add, we talked about this in the last project that we did, a horizon line. This isn't necessarily going to be a horizon line because we're just drawing what could be like a still life bouquet. We're going to make our vase look like it's sitting on a table, and it's going to be an easy way for you to divide your paper too. So you're going to want to go to the bottom of your vase. You're going to want to go probably 3 or 4 fingers up. So if I go like that, and you're just going to want to draw a line across, and then another line over here to finish. So now you've got your table space, you got your vase that looks like it's situated on the table, and now is the really fun part. You get to kind of add your flowers in. If you notice, so my vase is that geometric shape that we were talking about, maybe a little bit organic because it's like curvy on the sides. My flowers are almost all organic. So in organic, you can kind of see the connection too with flowers and organic. It's got that same plant meaning. So go ahead and you can choose some shapes, and you're just going to want to fill your vase. So this is like my favorite flower to draw. I love those spiral lines. I also really like this, how they added the detail with the spiral lines and the dots. So I'm going to start with a shape like that, and I'm going to do it nice and big. Okay. Next, I think I'm going to go with one of these, kind of looks like a daisy with petals. What I am going to do too is I'm going to draw in a stem. I'm not sure I'm going to close off the top of my vase just yet, because I don't know exactly where, how the lines are going to fall, especially because I'm in marker, working in marker. You are welcome to close off your vase in pencil for sure. But I'm going to start with this. If you can see, it's kind of a half circle. And then around the edges are a bunch of other little half circles. And then you just put in the petals wherever you want them. Okay, and so you see how I have, because I'm working in marker, you can totally see my vase line through my petals, but that's okay. I can fix that up when I go back in with my color. So I'm going to add, let's see, it looks like they suggest that you add at least 3 flowers. I think you should add way more than 3 flowers, but maybe just for the time of this video, I'll add just a couple more. I am going to go with this guy, the spiral, and then it kind of looks like it's got triangles coming out. So I'll do that up here. Kind of like triangles, but missing the, oh, I guess I kind of changed it up. Triangles and rectangles. Anything goes. What else? I'm going to give that guy a little stem. I like these extras, if you see that, these like curly lines. Maybe we should do one of those. What else could I do? There's some leaves. And again, this is just a guide. So if you come up with a different idea, that is great. I hope that you do. I'm going to add another one of these little extras because I think they're so fun. I'm going to do this little 3 lines with the dots on the end. I'm going to play with the idea that they're coming out. Okay, so there is my vase. The other thing that I think is really fun and a good way to incorporate your geometric shape is to do something cool on your table. So I really like, because I have such a huge Sharpie and a big white space, I like the idea of adding in some lines. And then I'm going to go ahead and cross my lines. And then I would go ahead and do every other square to kind of make it look like a checkerboard. I think that that's really fun. And I suggest, keeping it black and white on the bottom, because we don't have a ton of time. I guess we do, we have all the time in the world, but because you can see that this would take me a long time to fill in, I'm just going to do a couple to kind of show you the effect. But you can see that it really kind of creates like something else to look at. It's really fun. All right, so now my favorite part, adding the color. So now you get to create your bouquet. So these are the markers I have at home. It's kind of a sad collection. They're brush tip and they're for calligraphy. But they work great and I love the colors. But like I said, anything you choose will be great. And go ahead, you just go ahead and then you fill in however you want your flowers. So let's say I want to make this pink. Okay, there's pink. I want to make the petal shape. I'm going to make those orange. All right, and you can kind of see that I've got these white half circles. I'm going to give them some color too. I'm going to go with some light blue. Oh, I guess it's coming out a little darker than I expected, but that's okay. Really, I think in this project, because we start with those black lines, or in your case, they're probably still pencil lines that you can trace over later. Because we do have this like outline, we really want it to stand out. The more color that you put in your flowers, the better. Okay, I'm going to color these guys in. I'm going to do this one blue too. I'm going to do my leaves, kind of minty green. And you can kind of see it's really getting better and better the more color I add. What color should we make that guy? Some purple. Alright, so because we don't want this YouTube video to be too terribly long, what I'll do is I'm going to keep going, and then I will either send you guys or try to attach a picture of my final finished face. The other thing is, I look at this, you could certainly add something. I would keep it geometric if you wanted to. Maybe instead of do the table, you could add some kind of cool design on the base. Truly anything goes. It's just a fun little spring project I thought you guys might enjoy. So I hope you have a really fun, creative day, and I miss you all terribly. I hope I get to see you all very, very soon. All right, I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye. Piece, or the table in the piece, which we used the geometric shape to kind of create like that checkered board almost looking tablecloth. And then I added some more geometric shapes to our vase. So you can see I added some circles, I added some lines at the bottom, and then I went ahead and I colored in the flowers. I added a little bit of detail here on this rose. I added those little dots. I added this other little sprig. And that's it. I hope you guys have fun. This is a little project that you can do so many different ways. And hopefully we will be back in action doing another project soon. All right. See you guys later.